Sarah, Luke, and Emily searched tirelessly through the night. Their eyes scanned every shadow, every corner, hoping for a sign. Their friend Max was gone, vanished without a trace. Taken by the strange force that haunted their town, a force that no one could explain but everyone feared. They had to find him. They had to help him. The bond of friendship was their guiding light in the darkness.
Max, where are you?
Sarah called out, her voice echoing in the empty streets, bouncing off the walls of abandoned buildings. The town was silent. Too silent. It was as if the very air held its breath, waiting. A cold wind howled through the trees, carrying with it a whisper. It seemed to call Max's name, sending shivers down their spines.
We have to stick together. It's the only way we'll find him,
Luke said, his voice shaky with fear and determination. He knew the dangers that lurked in the shadows. Emily nodded, clutching her flashlight tighter. The beam of light was their only defense against the encroaching darkness. Fear hung heavy in the air, a palpable presence that threatened to overwhelm them. But they couldn't give up, not while Max was still out there, somewhere. They pressed on, driven by hope and the unbreakable bond of friendship, determined to bring Max back from the clutches of the unknown. Sarah stumbled into the old church, her footsteps echoing in the vast, empty space. The wooden doors creaked as they closed behind her, sending a shiver down her spine. Dust swirled in the air, illuminated by the faint beams of light piercing through the broken stained glass windows. She coughed, the musty air filling her lungs. A cold hand touched her shoulder, sending a jolt of fear through her body. She spun around, her heart racing. A man stood there, his presence almost ghostly. He was pale and gaunt, his skin almost translucent in the dim light. His eyes were hollow, filled with a sorrow that seemed to span centuries. His eyes glowed with an eerie light, casting an unnatural glow in the darkness. It was as if they held secrets of the past, secrets that were too terrifying to be spoken.
He's coming for you. He took me too. A long time ago. His voice was a mere whisper, filled with a haunting sadness.
Sarah's heart pounded in her chest, each beat echoing in her ears. She could feel the fear creeping up her spine, paralyzing her.
Who? Who took you? Her voice trembled, barely above a whisper, as she struggled to comprehend the man's words.
The man's form flickered like a candle in the wind. He was fading, his presence becoming more ethereal with each passing second.
The beast. He feeds on fear. His voice was barely audible, a mere echo in the vast emptiness of the church. Don't let him take you too. His final words hung in the air, a chilling warning that sent Sarah's mind into a whirlwind of terror and confusion.
Luke saw flashes, visions of Max trapped in darkness. He cried out, clutching his head.
We're too late. He's gone.
Emily felt a cold dread creep into her heart. She saw images too, dark figures circling Max, whispering. Her hope dwindled with each passing moment.
We can't give up,
Emily said, her voice trembling, but even she could hear the doubt in her own words. The town was closing in, squeezing the hope from their hearts.
Section 4. A Glimmer in the Darkness.
Luke stumbled. He fell through a rotting floorboard. The wood gave way beneath his weight, sending him plummeting into the unknown. He landed in a hidden passage. Dust and cobwebs filled the air, swirling around him like ghostly apparitions. He coughed, trying to clear his lungs. Through the haze he saw a faint light ahead, a beacon in the darkness. He crawled towards it, each movement slow and deliberate. The passage was narrow, forcing him to squeeze through tight spaces. Finally, the passage opened into a small chamber. In the center of the chamber, a book lay open on a pedestal. Strange symbols, glowing faintly, covered its pages, casting an eerie light around the room. Luke's blood ran cold. He knew what it was. The book was ancient, its power palpable. He could feel the energy emanating from it, a dark and foreboding presence.
The book described a ritual, a binding ritual. It could trap the beast, the very creature that had been terrorizing the village for centuries. But it came at a price. A terrible price. The ritual required a sacrifice, one that would bind the beast, but also doom the one who performed it. Luke's mind raced. Could he go through with it? The fate of the village rested on his shoulders, but the cost was almost too great to bear. He stood there, torn between duty and self-preservation, the weight of the decision pressing down on him like a physical force. The glimmer of light in the darkness offered hope, but at what cost?
Luke emerged from the passage. He told Sarah and Emily about the ritual, about the price. One of them had to stay, to bind the beast, to become its prisoner. Silence met his words. Sarah stared at the book, her face pale. Emily's eyes welled up. The weight of their choice pressed down on them.
We can't leave one of us behind.
We have to. It's our only chance.
The air crackled with energy as they performed the ritual. The symbols on the book glowed, the ground trembled. They spoke the words, their voices echoing in the chamber. The beast roared. Its presence filled the room. They could feel its power, its rage. One of them had to stay, to be its jailer.